All right, it is New Year's Day 2018, and what better way to start off the year right by cooking some steak with some friends. I figured I'd try steak a couple different ways. I'm even gonna try to do a Cowboy Tomahawk Steak. I'm gonna try to reverse sear today, and I thought I'd bring you along for the ride. So here we've got our seasoning ingredients. Basically, we're just gonna use some salt and pepper, and I'm going to use a light touch of olive oil for the steaks. Look at that bad boy right there. I don't know how big it looks on the camera, but it is huge. All right. Basically, we're just going to do a light sprinkling of the olive oil, and then put the salt and pepper on there. On the Cowboy Tomahawk Steak, I'm going to use the kosher salt. It's a much better cut of meat. And the rest of these fillets, I'm going to use the garlic salt, just because I love garlic salt. Okay, I just put olive oil on the steaks, and now I'm going to do a generous portion of kosher salt. And I'm doing this well in advance of cooking it. All right, you really need to do that so that the meat has time to absorb the salt and the seasoning. You know, it's not something you want to necessarily let sit out all day, but I'm going to cook this in about an hour or so. And I want this meat to soak up all of the flavor. You also need to do it, you need to pull it out an hour ahead of the time you season it, so that you can make sure that it's not, that it's primed. Because if it's too cold, it's not going to accept the seasoning. All right, our meat is seasoned. As you can see, you got to get an even coat of the seasoning across all the meat. And I'm just going to let it sit here and absorb it for a little bit before I decide to put that stuff out on the grill. So, like I said, I haven't done a reverse sear before. One of the reasons you want to do a reverse sear on a thick piece of meat like this cowboy steak is because you want to make sure you do get it cooked all the way through the meat. That doesn't mean you have to make sure the meat is brown, all right? But you want to make sure you slow cook it on the front end, and then once it is slow cooked for roughly an hour, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the other side of my grill. Because I'm using a Kamado Joe Classic 2, I'm able to use indirect heat on one half of my grill, and I'm able to sear on the other half. And so once I've let it slow cook on half the indirect heat part of my grill for about an hour, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to sear it for a few minutes on each side to make sure I seal in all the juices and all the meat. And then when I'm done, it should be a perfectly cooked piece of cowboy steak. All right. In case you're wondering how the best way to start your Kamado Joe, or any ceramic grill for that matter, the best tool to use, the best tool in your arsenal, is the Joe Blow electric starter. It's basically like a hairdryer on steroids. This thing will literally get your charcoal lit in about 2 to 2.5 minutes. So when it's 17 degrees outside and you're wanting to cook steaks, no better tool to use. I'm going to show you how it works. Alrighty, I'm just going to take it, get it started like that, stick it in there, and just give it a minute. It's already been 45, 50 seconds, and we already have flames. And that's how you do that. Okay, so because we're going to be doing a reverse sear, I'm going to go ahead and put the deflector plate on here so that once we're done, I'm only going to put half of the deflector plate. You can do that with the Kamado Joe Classic too. It's really cool because it allows you to be able to do a reverse sear, because you can slow cook the meat for about an hour, and then once it's done you can flip it over to the side that doesn't have the heat deflector on it, and you can sear the meat. Okay, for our cowboy steak, you want to get the grill to about 250 degrees. Mine's at just a little bit above 300. When I open this lid though, it's going to cool down pretty quick. So we're going to cook it at 250 degrees for about an hour. Alright, putting our cowboy steak on. There we go. Looks beautiful. Alright, it's been about 30 minutes. I'm gonna take a quick look and flip our awesome cowboy steak here. Oh yeah, good. Let it cook for another 30 minutes. It smells so good out here while we're cooking this steak, and I just had to just let you know like how painful it is to watch the smoke come out and smell how awesome this steak is. You just got to be here in person, I guess. We're gonna flip it and sear it in about 15 minutes. I'm gonna sear it for about 3.5 minutes per side to seal in those juices, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it rest, because when it rests it's actually going to continue cooking for a little bit. Very important to let the steak rest because you don't want that flavor to leak out when you cut into your steak. Alright, now we're going to sear our cowboy steak. We're going to leave it on there for about 3 minutes and we should be good. And time she's up. Let's look at our steak, and she is beautiful. All right, yeah. Pull it off. All right, it looks awesome. Now, the hard part, we let it rest.